What we're going to do right off the bat here is this. The first chart that you see before you is basically the chart in reference to Ayurvedic treatments, and this is a highlight. And this is looking at basically the one herb, ashwagandha. And they laid out this chart beautifully in how ashwagandha may help mitigate some of the circumstances in reference to COVID-19. I'm going to put it out front in the beginning because this way you don't have to try to look through the video later on. So there it is. And now we'll go to the backstory. Second, we're going to look at basically the reference from Oregon State University in nutritional therapies as far as maintaining a strong, let's use the word upgrade, an upgraded immune system. Therefore, what they're doing here is making sure that the immune system has all of the viable tools that are necessary not only to fight off COVID-19, but a multitude of different viruses in the future, or other ailments, I should say. There those two are. Why? All right, these two research articles came out the preceding week. The primary reason is this. All right, we're looking at a reference article from the Journal of American Medical Association. We looked at the success of ventilator use, mechanical ventilator use, in those above the age of 65. And the DOI citation or DOI links will be, I'll put in the article itself, or not in the article, on the YouTube channel itself. 97.2% mortality rate in those above the age of 65. So, this is the strategy. The researchers are saying, instead of basically utilizing a mechanical ventilator for an individual above the age of 65 alone, why not use it in conjunction or interject possibly ahead of time nutritional or potentially herbal therapy, remove the biases. If something's not working, all right, let's try something different, or maybe make something work better. So what they're saying is, why tolerate a 97.2% mortality rate when it comes to an individual being on a mechanical ventilator above the age of 65? Now keep in mind, there can be confounding involved, meaning the individuals going on a mechanical ventilator may be your sickest or least likely to recover. Henceforth, they get the ventilator, and you have a 97.2% mortality rate. But 97.2% mortality, why not utilize treatments or I don't want to utilize the word alternative, because to me, whatever works, works. To do something different in the benefit of the patient itself, instead of having them deal with the odds of only a 2.8% chance of recovery once we're on a mechanical ventilator with COVID-19. So with that in mind, let us proceed as follows. All right, dietary supplements, an important weapon for fighting off COVID-19. Supplements containing vitamin C and D and other micronutrients, sometimes in amounts exceeding their federally recommended levels, are a safe, effective, and low-cost means, I'm quoting, of helping your immune system fight off COVID-19 and other acute respiratory tract diseases, says Oregon State University researcher. Very well laid out hypothesis and a detailed argument. Lots of nice footnotes in there. So we're going to go to the full study because it's going to word it a lot better. To proceed to the introduction as follows. And this is important because it's just not about fighting off COVID-19. There are other elements out there, other viruses that just somehow disappeared from the news, but they are just as likely, or sometimes not even more, to be a problem in the future. To proceed as follows. Acute respiratory tract infections are a major cause of morbidity and mortality across the globe, as illustrated both seasonal influenza epidemics and recent outbreaks of coronavirus disease, COVID-19, caused by SARS-CoV-2 infection. The World Health Organization estimates that worldwide seasonal influenza alone results in 3 to 5 million cases of severe illness that require hospitalization and 290,000 to 650,000 deaths annually. And aggregate acute respiratory tract illnesses were estimated to be responsible for approximately 2.38 million deaths worldwide in 2016. So you see the argument that the researchers are trying to make. They're saying, just not COVID-19. Why not upgrade your immune system or reinforce it to make sure that you don't become prone to any one of these potentially fatal outcomes? To proceed. Indeed, severe lower respiratory tract infections were the most common cause of sepsis-related death globally from 1990 to 2017. Influenzas, I'm going to read fast, so please forgive me. Influenzas caused by single-stranded RNA virus, and as such exhibits high mutation rates in rapid evolution, which may allow these viruses to escape from pre-existing neutralizing antibodies in the host. Vaccination programs therefore must make predictions each year as to which strains to vaccinate against. And you're probably going to see the same with COVID-19, because right now, in reference to vaccine research, it looks like the best vaccine at this point in time may hold is for about a year. So you might find it basically in your influenza type armament in reference to vaccines. To proceed as follows. With varying degrees of success. In the U.S., the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimate the current year influenza vaccine to be 45% effective, preventing medically attended, laboratory-confirmed influenza virus. This is consistent with estimates from the previous years when the influenza vaccines were antigenically matched to the circulating viruses. Since the 2011 to 2012 season, vaccine efficacy has ranged from as low as 19% to as high as 54%. You see the argument. So you can't just rely on a vaccine per se, or even if not, why not arm your immune system with what it needs to fight off an infection normally? To proceed as follows. Undoubtedly, public hygiene practices, when available, vaccinations can be effective mechanisms to provide protection against infectious diseases. However, vaccines can take years to create, are not available against all viruses, today's case included, including the current coronavirus SARS-CoV-2, and providing varying levels of protection. The morbidity and mortality numbers cited above highlighted the need for additional strategies to support the immune system in order to reduce the impact of respiratory and other infections. To conclude and with reference to this particular research, again, links will be to the full research article as well on the YouTube channel. But to proceed as follows. One compelling strategy to provide sufficient nutritional support for the immune system. As described above, optimal nutritional intake, including supplementing above the RDA for certain immune-supporting vitamins, promotes optimal immune function, helps to control the impact of infections, could help to limit the emergence of novel, more virulent strains of pathogenic viruses. So you see, limit the emergence. So instead of individuals being hunkered down in their home, eating a poor diet, being sedentary, and so on and so forth, you can see where this heads with the immune system not being challenged, meaning 6 months from now, if people don't take care of themselves one way or the other, you're probably going to see a skyrocket in autoimmune diseases, gastrointestinal tracts, microbiome disorders, so on and so forth. But to proceed as follows. All right. To include nutritional strategies and seasonal arsenal to improve public health and to limit the impact of seasonal and emerging viral infections. Here is the chart once again. Again, feel free to pause. It's going to be in the beginning as such, because we're going to do the backstory. A lot of talking, but here it is. And this is the recommendations based upon the best hypothesis. As you go to the full study itself, you're going to see it laid out quite well. Now also too, I want you to pay attention to the author's agreement and basically potentially any conflicts of interest. These are the individuals that work for the drug companies recommending vitamins. Think about that. Yet, ironically, the vitamins which are being recommended are not being utilized in a lot of modern resources or hospitals per se. I mean, come on. The information alone on vitamin D is so compelling. A few countries have picked it up, but still, why not us here in the United States? You know, why? It's there. It's available. It's inexpensive, and it has an incredible track record. To proceed as follows, to the next one. Ayurveda and yoga for COVID-19 prevention. There. Public health approach of Ayurveda and yoga. Again, it's weird. Me coming more from a science background per se, and you hear the word yoga, automatically right off the bat, boom, you get this behavioral conditioning, which automatically starts incorporating bias. Yet, tremendous amount of research is coming out in reference to the health benefits as such. But it's our bias that sometimes holds us back from proceeding with the research. To proceed as follows. Ayurveda, and yoga for COVID-19 prevention. Public health approach. Now, we're going to go to the full research article right off the bat. Public health approach of Ayurveda and yoga for COVID-19 prophylaxis. Based upon available data, this is the full study. We suggest that when used appropriately, ashwagandha may be effective in improving host immunity through modulation of key targets relevant to COVID-19. We, quoting, have demonstrated the clinical effects of ashwagandha containing Ayurvedic formulations to be equivalent to HCQ in a RCT, randomized controlled trial, for treating rheumatoid arthritis. The figure, which you see here, depicts potential mechanisms of action of ashwagandha in prophylaxis, antiviral, immune boosting, vascular integrity, so on and so forth, and management related to clinical targets of COVID-19. There's your figure right there. Potential mechanisms of actions. There's basically the Latin name that you're looking at for reference to ashwagandha related to clinical targets of COVID-19. I'm going to leave that up there. And two, as well, I'm going to put the full initial chart in a few seconds. Quoting, we therefore suggest that selected ashwagandha formulations may be effective as a prophylactic and adjunct treatment of COVID-19. In our opinion, quoting, ashwagandha might be a better and safer alternative to disease-modifying drugs such as HCQ. We recommend further research to determine the clinical efficacy of the Rasiana, please forgive me if I mispronounced that, drugs such as ashwagandha, so on and so forth down the line. Now we're going to go to the public research, the public study, the public release, away from the full clinical detailed study. Editor-in-chief, quote, says, in COVID-19, we are seeing a collision of the acute, the virus, and chronic, the host conditions that increase susceptibility. The authors assemble a well-referenced, and it is very well-referenced when you go to the full study, argument from biomedical research and some traditional text to make a compelling case for more increased clinician and research attention to integrating Ayurveda and yoga with biomedical approaches as prophylactic host-supporting measures. All right, what we're going to do real fast here. I'm going to go back. I want to show you 2 pages. This gives some great little formulations that are often utilized in reference to illnesses such that are similar to this as follows. Page 1, really kind of cool. Page 2, cool as well. At least as far as triggering curiosity in reference to what may work in ailments as such as this and potentially other ailments, gosh forbid, in the future as such. All right, 2. What I want to do as well, I want to give you the 3 information resources. I'm trying to move people away from the public daily news. It seems not to be as accurate an accounting of what's going on, yet scientists and doctors are doing incredible research. It's just that things get sensationalized. Here's the news services that I like to use preferably. First one is basically from the American Association for the Advancement of Science, otherwise Eurekalert. I'll put a link there. Science Daily, really good. And what makes them good is it's not biased. They'll put things in there you may disagree with and things you agree with. But regardless of that, well-documented DOI citations, so it's not like some sort of editor-in-chief basically just deciding what you can read and what you can't read. Beautiful, equal release as follows. And also 2, has a little bit of levity in it from time to time, but it gives you a good idea of the doctors and medical professionals on the front line, basically from the Annals of Internal Medicine, and great research in there as well. So those 3 are 3 great sources that I utilize on a regular basis, and I hope maybe you do as well. Again, Ralph Turchiano, whoops, that's loud. Ralph Turchiano signing off. As always, gratitude. Thank you for listening. Look forward to see you all once again in 7 days. And again, it's physical distancing, not social distancing. I want to keep on saying that until basically whatever begins to sink. Again, gratitude, thank you. Look forward to seeing you all once again in 7 days. See you then. Bye.